Before the sun sets, this Tyrannosaurus rex must hunt, survive, and defend its territory or lose everything. Today, you will live an entire day through the eyes of the deadliest dinosaur that ever walked the earth. Pre-dawn darkness blankets a late Cretaceous floodplain 66 million years ago. Beneath a grove of towering conifers, a massive Tyrannosaurus rex lies asleep. The world is quiet, save for the whisper of the wind, the distant hum of insects, and the low calls of nocturnal creatures winding down their nightly chorus. We draw closer. Its immense chest rises and falls with a steady, powerful rhythm. With each exhalation, warm breath condenses faintly in the cool, humid air, a fleeting ghost in the gloom. The sky above begins its slow transformation from black to a deep, bruised purple. Silhouettes of giant ferns and ancient cycads begin to resolve against the lightening horizon. The first stirrings of the day have begun, as early birds and insects start their morning routines. The sleeping giant shifts. Its colossal tail, a counterbalance of muscle and bone, drags heavily through the damp soil, scattering leaves, twigs, and small stones. Even in slumber, its power is undeniable. Far off, the first calls of a hadrosaur herd echo across the plain, a low, resonant honking that signals the coming of dawn. The T-Rex's eye twitches beneath its scaly lid, but it remains closed, lost in the final moments of rest. The hunter is not yet ready to stir. Then, the first rays of sunlight break over the horizon. Golden light streams through the canopy, catching on the predator's scarred hide, highlighting the textures of a life lived at the apex of its world. Slowly, one massive eye opens. It's a deep, intelligent amber orb, scanning the environment with patient stillness, not yet lifting its head. The king is surveying his kingdom from his throne of earth. A deep, rumbling breath escapes its lungs, a sound so low it's felt as much as heard, blending seamlessly with the morning winds. And then it rises. With an incredible display of power, the Tyrannosaurus pushes itself up. The ground trembles softly as 40 feet and 9 tons of predator gets to its feet. Muscles flex and ripple under a thick, tough skin. Now standing, it is an unparalleled spectacle. An apex predator alone, dominating the landscape as mist rolls lazily across the plain below. It stretches its powerful neck, rotating its massive head from side to side, and opens its jaws in a colossal yawn. The action reveals rows of serrated, banana-sized teeth, stained from past hunts, lethal weapons honed by millions of years of evolution. Suddenly, the morning peace is shattered. A deafening roar erupts from its lungs, a sound that is both a declaration of presence and a dire warning. It echoes for miles across the forests and riverbanks, a definitive statement of ownership. The effect is instantaneous. Smaller animals scatter in every direction, desperate to escape the sound and its source. Birds burst from the trees in a panicked flurry of wings, their alarm calls filling the air. The world has been put on notice. The tyrant lizard king is awake. Its morning proclamation complete, the T-Rex begins its patrol. It follows a familiar path, one worn into the earth by its own heavy tread, a route that defines the borders of its territory. We watch as its enormous three-toed feet crush ferns and snap fallen branches with casual indifference. Each step is a reminder of the power contained within this incredible animal. The predator pauses, its head held high, nostrils flaring, It's sniffing the air, processing a complex tapestry of scents carried on the breeze. It detects something promising, the faint, distant odor of prey. In the distance, a small group of slender, ostrich-like ornithomimids, having sensed the same danger, flees in a blur of legs and feathers. The T-Rex watches them go but makes no move to pursue. It is a long day, and energy must be conserved for a more substantial meal. Patience is a virtue, even for a king. It continues its patrol, heading toward a nearby river. Along the way, it passes trees deeply scarred with claw marks, a visual signpost for any would-be challengers, reinforcing the message of its roar. These are the borders of its domain, written in tooth and claw. The massive legs move with a rhythmic, surprisingly graceful gait, its long tail swinging from side to side as a perfect counterbalance. The sound of flowing water grows louder, a constant, soothing rush that cuts through the other sounds of the forest. The river comes into view, a wide, shimmering ribbon of life carving through the prehistoric landscape. The T-Rex steps into the shallows without hesitation, sending ripples spreading outward across the water's surface. It lowers its immense head and drinks deeply, water dripping from its powerful jaws. Below the surface, fish scatter in a panic, while above, insects buzz around the reeds, oblivious to the giant in their midst. After quenching its thirst, it lifts its head, water sluicing from its snout. Its keen eyes scan both riverbanks, ever watchful for movement, for opportunity, or for threat. A distant splash upstream hints at other, larger animals crossing the water, perhaps a herd on the move. Its patrol is a constant assessment of its environment. Leaving the river, it climbs the muddy bank, its huge feet leaving deep, clear prints in the soft earth fossil records in the making. The sun climbs higher in the sky, and the heat of the day begins to intensify. The air grows thick and heavy, and the relentless, buzzing drone of cicadas now dominates the soundscape, a signature of the Late Cretaceous midday. The T-Rex moves from the cover of the forest into more open terrain, its shadow stretching long and imposing behind it. It walks for a time, then pauses again, its body perfectly still. It isn't listening or smelling this time. It's feeling. Through the massive pads of its feet, it senses faint vibrations in the ground, the telltale sign of heavy movement. Its gaze fixes on a point far away. There, partially hidden by a stand of ferns and cycads, is a herd of hadrosaurs. The duck-billed dinosaurs are grazing peacefully, unaware they are being watched. The T-Rex lowers its head, its profile dropping below the vegetation line. It observes them quietly, its brain, large for a dinosaur, calculating the distance, the direction of the wind, the layout of the land. It takes a slow, deliberate step forward, then another, testing the terrain, ensuring a silent approach. The hunt has not yet begun, but the plan is forming. For now, it stops. Patience wins over impulse. Under the high sun, the Tyrannosaurus rex stands motionless, a silent, brooding monarch surveying its domain, as the prehistoric world pulses with life all around it. The day is still young, and for the king the most important work is yet to come. In the sweltering heat of the Late Cretaceous, a tyrant king lies in wait. Perfectly still, the Tyrannosaurus rex is a statue of muscle and bone, its patterned hide a near-perfect camouflage amidst the towering ferns and cycads. Heat shimmers off the ground in visible waves, distorting the air around the colossal predator. For now, there is only patience. The world holds its breath. A faint breeze stirs the canopy, and with it, a subtle shift in the wind's direction. Leaves rustle, whispering secrets to the forest. The T-Rex, a master of its environment, responds instantly. Without a sound, it adjusts its immense body, a slight pivot of its powerful hips, ensuring it remains downwind from its quarry. Every instinct is honed for this moment, every sense fine-tuned to the hunt. Suddenly, its massive nostrils flare wide. A deep, deliberate inhalation draws in the sense of the floodplain. It's a complex bouquet of damp earth, decaying plant matter, and something else, the unmistakable, rich, musky scent of a herd of herbivores, the hadrosaurs. They are close. The hunt is on. Not far away, the duck-billed dinosaurs graze peacefully, their heads low to the ground. The air is filled with the gentle, rhythmic sounds of their chewing, a peaceful counterpoint to the buzzing of insects and the distant calls of unseen birds. They are completely unaware of the monstrous shadow that has fallen upon their world, a shadow that is now beginning to move. The T-Rex begins its advance. It is a terrifying paradox of size and silence. Each three-toed foot, larger than a human torso, is placed with surgical precision. The predator moves with a slow, rolling gait, its head held low, its gaze fixed forward. This is not a creature of mindless rage. This is a calculating hunter, every movement a deliberate step in a lethal dance. The soft, muddy ground of the floodplain threatens to betray its approach, but the T-Rex knows this terrain. It shifts its weight with incredible control, pressing its feet into the earth with a dull, suppressed thud. The sound is absorbed by the soil, muffled by the dense vegetation, a testament to the dinosaur's mastery of a silent stalk. Among the grazing hadrosaurs, a moment of youthful carelessness occurs. A juvenile, perhaps distracted by a particularly tasty patch of ferns, strays a few crucial feet from the safety of the main group. It's a small separation, a momentary lapse in judgment, but in this world, such moments are often fatal. The T-Rex freezes instantly. Every muscle in its 13-ton body tenses, coiling like a gigantic spring. Its binocular vision, a key predatory advantage, locks onto the isolated juvenile. The distance, the angle, the element of surprise, all calculations are made in a fraction of a second. The target is acquired. The moment has arrived. The world explodes. Ferns and undergrowth are blasted outward as the T-Rex erupts from its cover in a sudden, shocking burst of speed. The patient stalk is over, replaced by an avalanche of raw power. For the hadrosaurs, the first sign of danger is the forest itself seeming to detonate. The ground shudders violently. The T-Rex's charge is a thundering earthquake, each footfall a percussive blast that reverberates through the soil. The sound is terrifying, a rapid, earth-shaking rhythm of doom that announces the charge of the apex predator across the open plain. Panic rips through the hadrosaur herd. Peaceful grazing transforms into a maelstrom of chaos. High-pitched, trumpeting alarm calls pierce the air as bodies slam against each other in a desperate stampede for safety. The herd scatters, a frantic, disorganized retreat toward the distant tree line. Despite the prey's head start, the gap closes with astonishing speed. The T-Rex's massive legs, powered by the largest muscles of any land animal, devour the distance. It is a pursuit of terrifying efficiency, a horrifying demonstration of why this creature is the undisputed king. The 6-foot-long jaws, lined with banana-sized, serrated teeth, snap shut with a force that could crush bone like chalk. The sound is a sickening, final crunch. The juvenile hadrosaur collapses in a heap, its desperate flight cut short. A cloud of dust and debris erupts from the impact, momentarily obscuring the scene. The thundering footfalls of the fleeing herd fade into the distance as they disappear into the dense forest, leaving a profound and sudden silence in their wake. The Tyrannosaurus stands over its fresh kill, its immense chest heaving. The exertion of the chase has been great, and it takes a moment to recover its breath, steam fogging from its nostrils in the humid air. It is a moment of triumph, the successful culmination of the hunt. A close-up reveals the brutal reality. Dark, thick blood drips from the tips of its massive teeth, spattering onto the earth below. The predator's maw is a gallery of lethal weaponry, each tooth a dagger designed for one purpose: to tear through flesh and bone. The price of survival has been paid. Now the feast begins. The T-Rex lowers its head and sinks its teeth into the flank of the hadrosaur. With violent, powerful shakes of its head, driven by a thick, muscular neck, it tears away huge chunks of flesh. The sounds are visceral and raw, the sounds of nature's ultimate carnivore at work. A loud, sharp crack echoes across the empty plain as the T-Rex's jaws splinter a rib cage. The force is immense, turning bone into fragments. This is not a delicate eater. It is a machine of consumption, built to process its kill as efficiently as possible, wasting nothing. High above, a new presence arrives. Pterosaurs, the scavengers of the Cretaceous skies, begin to circle. Their leathery wings catch the updrafts as they screech cautiously, drawn by the scent of blood but wary of the formidable predator below. They will wait their turn. The T-Rex is aware of the onlookers. It lifts its blood-soaked head and lets out a deep, guttural snarl, a clear and unambiguous warning. The message travels on the wind. This kill is mine. The pterosaurs keep their distance, their hunger held in check by the tyrant's claim. Slowly, the frantic feeding subsides. The sharpest pangs of hunger have been satisfied. The predator has consumed hundreds of pounds of meat in a matter of minutes, a vital refueling after the energy-intensive hunt. Its massive stomach is now visibly distended. Stepping away from the carcass, the T-Rex presents a formidable sight. Its jaws and snout are stained dark with blood. As the intense midday sun beats down, the need for rest becomes as urgent as the need for food. The dinosaur turns and lumbers towards the cool sanctuary of the forest edge. The air grows heavy, thick with the oppressive heat of noon. The droning buzz of cicadas and other insects rises to a fever pitch, becoming the dominant sound of the landscape. It is a time for stillness, a time when most of the world seeks shelter from the relentless sun. Beneath the thick, broad leaves of ancient trees, the T-Rex finds its relief. It lowers its immense body to the ground with a controlled groan, the earth sighing under its weight. Here, in the deep shade, it can finally rest and digest its hard-won meal. Its eye, the size of a grapefruit, is half closed, a golden orb scanning its surroundings even in repose. Its massive chest rises and falls in a slow, deep rhythm. The king is at rest, but never truly off guard. The cycle of energy expenditure and recovery continues. As time passes, the shadows shift and lengthen. The sun arcs across the sky, its journey marking the slow passage of the afternoon. The world outside the shade continues to buzz and hum, but here, in its cool retreat, the predator conserves its precious energy, digesting and restoring its strength. Suddenly, a sound breaks the midday calm. A distant, powerful roar echoes faintly from across the floodplain. It is the call of another large theropod, another predator staking its claim somewhere in this vast territory. It is a potential challenge. Instantly, the T-Rex's head lifts. Its lethargy vanishes, replaced by sharp, focused alertness. Its ears, though small, are finely tuned to pinpoint the direction and distance of the sound. Its entire body is a listening device, analyzing the potential threat. A low, rumbling growl vibrates deep within its chest. It's not a full-throated roar, but a warning, a territorial response that communicates its presence and its readiness to defend its domain. It is the bass note in the symphony of the Cretaceous. The moments tick by in tense silence. The distant sound is not repeated. No challenger emerges from the heat haze on the horizon. The other predator was likely just announcing its own presence, not seeking a confrontation. The threat fades. Reassured, the Tyrannosaurus lowers its massive head once more. The tension drains from its muscles, and it settles back into its restful state. The brief interruption is over, and the peace of the afternoon returns to the shaded grove. The landscape is vast and teeming with life. And at its very center, the apex predator rests in the deep shade, a silent, powerful monument to survival. The land buzzes around it, a world of constant struggle, and for now, the tyrant king has earned his peace. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more adventures into the prehistoric world. See you next time.